This is a tutorial to help schools get the best out of their Koboca survey reports. This is great to get evidence for things like Ofsted, sports premium, pupil premium, and probably most of all, the impact that you can have on those pupils that need the most support in your school. So for this presentation, I'm going to use the National Physical Activity and Wellbeing Survey. So if you'd like to take part in this, you can click on My Surveys, and then at the bottom, you've got the Primary Pupil Activity and Wellbeing Survey. Next to this, you've got a copy link button. If you copy this and paste it in any shared area, pupils can click on the link and then complete the survey to give you the results. The reports work exactly the same way if you create your own surveys or use any other. So once pupils have completed the survey, you can go to My Survey Reports. At the bottom here, you can see the national survey and next to it a View Reports button. This gives you reports on every question that's asked within the survey. I'll come back to the participation one next, but if we look at activity levels, this will tell you the number of pupils in your school who say they're very active, active, semi-active and not active. You also have the filter groups across the top, so you can select whether you want to look at male only, female only or all. You can change between hard figures and percentages, and you can also split by individual year groups. And I'll mention the filter groups shortly. So for this presentation, I'm going to focus on the semi-active group. So if I click on this chart here, it will name all the pupils in the school who are semi-active. There's a button at the top here called Create Custom Filter. If we click this, I'll show you what that will do shortly. So I'm interested in the semi-active pupils, and I'll also look at the non-active pupils and create a further filter. Some of the other reports that you can use are things like school teams. So this will show you the pupils who say they play for their school teams or would like to. So this group here is the pupils who say that they don't play for a school team but would like to. So I'll create another filter with those. And then my last filter, those that would like to play for a school team in a non-competitive fun event with other schools. So I create my last filter there. So now if I go back to reports, what that will allow me to do is cross-reference any of those target groups with any of the questions. So looking at the participation data, I can see what the most requested sports are by each of the pupils within my school. Again, the same filter groups are at the top. But if I look in this additional group here, I can see the created filters that I've done on this presentation. So if I click semi-active, I can look here and see that dodgeball is the most popular activity by the semi-active pupils in my school. So a great way of running an after-school club to make sure we hit those pupils. Clicking on the 29 will give me the names of those pupils as well, so I know who to invite. If I look at the pupils who have not played for their school but would like to, this is a good one for sports partnerships to look at, so they could put a football event on, knowing that that's the most popular sport by pupils who have not competed for their school before. Again, clicking on this will give you the names of those 44 pupils as a school who would like to do football, who are semi-active or who have not, competed for their school before. Some of the other reports you've got are around leadership, so this will tell you the pupils who would like to get involved in leadership who haven't had the opportunity yet. You've got a question on swimming, so this is good around your sports premium funding and will let you know which pupils can swim 25 metres, who can do it in a range of strokes, who can perform a self-rescue, and most importantly those pupils who can't swim 25 metres or any of those targeted opportunities that are outlined there. So those 55 pupils will be the ones that would get the top-up swimming lessons. There's a nutrition report that outlines which pupils know what a balanced diet is, and more importantly those that don't, so any follow-up opportunities to develop their nutritional knowledge could be worked with those targeted 34 pupils. And you also have a transition report. So this outlines the pupils that are not worried about going to secondary school, those that are worried a little bit about going, and those that are worried a lot. So this is a Year 6 question specifically, and this is where the transition work around sports partnerships and secondary schools can work with the targeted group, and you could cross-reference these with the sports they'd like to try and potentially put an event on at the secondary school in the sports they like, and then a tour of their secondary school. There's a report on resilience, so this outlines the pupils who say that if they find something hard, they give up easily, and those that say if something upsets them, that it takes them a long time to recover. Now, as a school looking at this, you may not know whether this is a good report or a bad report. So one of the really good systems within this program is you've got this headline data button up the top here. And what that will do is it will take your school data and compare it across the sports partnership, across the county, and across the nation to find out how you're doing. So for this school, as a test site, it's showing that they're below the sports partnership, the county, and the national averages. For those that say they find it hard, they'll keep trying, and they're above for those that say they find it hard, they give up easily. So you can compare across different schools, different partnerships, and where you are within the county and nationally to see how you're faring against other schools like for like in your area. There's a wellbeing report that states the pupils who say that they feel happy on most days, or they feel okay, or most days they feel sad. So again, another target group for a school here who can work with those pupils who say they feel sad on most days. And then the last report is the Ofsted question around, is there an adult at school that you can talk to if something's worrying them? So for this as an example, this school says that there's 10 pupils that strongly disagree with that statement. So this would be their target group to go and speak with these 10 pupils. Again, you can identify the names and then work with them to make sure they know who they can go and talk to. So if Ofsted do come in and do this survey, these results look a lot better and the school are in a better position when they're talking to Ofsted. The last thing I want to mention is you've got your all data report up here. So if I click on all data, it will give you a summary report based on all the questions within your survey. So this is a really good one to hand out or to give to your SLT and head teacher so they can get an overview of the whole school. What's really good about it is you can also do a development plan for specific year groups. So if I look under here and I just go for year 6, it will give me a development plan for a year 6 teacher in your school to make sure when programs come from sports partnerships and other organisations that you pick the right pupils to take part in those activities. So for example, we may look on here and say that we'll focus our attention on the semi-active pupils to try and get them more active. The next question is around school teams. So there's 18 pupils here who say that they don't play for the school team but would like to. So again, we get another list of pupils. When it comes to leadership, we've got 21 pupils who say they don't get the chance to be a leader but would like to. So this would be the list of pupils. And you can progress through the form, opening the areas where you want to focus. You can then click print. So when this teacher gets a invite to take part in a competition, they know these are the names of the pupils who would like to take part who haven't in the past, so they know exactly who to target. If there is a programme around targeting the semi-active pupils, they have a list of semi-active pupils. So it just means all the programmes within schools are really targeted and the pupils who need the support get that support. That's a quick run through of all of the things on the primary physical activity and wellbeing survey. Like I mentioned, if you run your own survey, the reports work in exactly the same way. You can still create your custom filters. The only thing you won't be able to do is do the compare with the national averages and the sports partnership averages because it'll be your own sport specific survey. The last thing to mention is if you repeat the survey, so if you do this every year, you will also get a compare button on the top here that you can compare the graphs from previous surveys to the one that you've currently run. So you can compare the improvements that you have from 2021 to 2022. I hope you found this tutorial useful and you get the most out of your reports.